And we would find that our presentation this evening in mindfulness is so applicable and will be so helpful to us as we move along, that this challenge, the value of this challenge, will be recognized further down the road. I assure you. You will look back and you will say, I am so happy that I followed the leading of the God Spirit in causing me to participate in this challenge and in any other subsequent challenge to come. Because this is not the end. It is a motion forward that will continue. Okay? So tonight we're going to talk about mindfulness, the natural benefits of mindfulness. But before we go into our mindfulness topic tonight, I had an opportunity to come across a very profound a statement, one that I had to pull out, and I would like to share with you today. And that is, until the pain of our suffering outweighs the misery of suffering in it or in that pain, we will not have the courage to endure the pain involved in changing the cause of suffering. Now, I know you might have to take your time. What exactly is just said? Okay, because you have that question, here it goes. Until the pain of our suffering, that is, what is the pain in our suffering? It's our hypertension, it's our diabetes, it's our, in some people, cancer, in some obesity. These are the pains and the suffering. Now, until the pain of these sufferings outweigh or becomes stronger than our desire to say, I can live with this, or this is pain that I could tolerate. Until that pain becomes intolerable, you will not have the strength or the courage to endure the pain involved in the natural process of reversing the cause of the pain. And in reversing the cause of the pain, we actually end the suffering. But it takes courage. It takes consistent courage and mindfulness to continue moving in the direction that makes the correction. So, do not be satisfied with the pain that you're experiencing or the suffering that you're experiencing. Let the desire be to endure whatever is necessary to correct the situation, to alleviate all suffering. And I thought it would be, I thought it was very appropriate for our topic tonight, mindfulness, because mindfulness gives us the awareness. There you go, right on the screen. The awareness to take on what is necessary to alleviate that which hinders us. And when I say that which hinders us, I'm talking about those diseases. So we're talking about mindfulness. And as we go through it, as I said, the topic and subject of mindfulness is all over the internet. It's in the mouth of almost everybody. Oh, you should be mindful of this. You should be mindful of that. Oh, you need to practice mindfulness. Tonight, we're going to talk about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? How do we engage in mindfulness? And as I said before coming in, Scripture teaches us so much about mindfulness that we don't even think it's mindfulness. What it's telling us to be focused and intentional in serving your Elohim, your God, your Elohim. So let's dive now into the topic of mindfulness and the good benefits derived from mindfulness. And by the way, you'd find that you don't have to pay for mindfulness. It's free. You don't need to go to a therapeutic session. You don't need to do anything except apply yourself. Take some time, apply yourself. And the benefits are beyond monetary funds. So here we go. KMC 2.24, the natural benefits of mindfulness. Of course, by yours truly, Alex Ferguson, from the Holistic Health Pavilion. What a nice way to remember mindfulness. A good imprint in the sand near the peaceful seashore. Now, at its core, mindfulness is the practice of cultivating awareness of thoughts and feelings while remaining focused on the present moment. Common mindfulness techniques include meditation, breath work or breathing, and other intentional habits that help foster or nurture non-judgment and conscious observation of one's thoughts, choices, and feelings. And this is very important to understand what mindfulness is. Again, I'll repeat it, what mindfulness is. And it begins with, at the core of mindfulness, an individual practice and cultivates awareness. That means you are taking the time to develop the state of awareness of your thoughts, of your feelings. And while you're doing this, you are remaining focused, not on the past, not on the future, but on the present. And we are going to go through some of the techniques of mindfulness, the meditation, the breathing, and other intentional habits that foster what is called mindfulness. Natural physical benefits of mindfulness. Yes, though mindfulness is abstract, you will find that the abstract employment of mindfulness or engaging in mindfulness has a physical effect, a tangible effect on your physical body. One, mindfulness reduces stress. It is a stress reducer. And research indicates that mindfulness naturally reduces stress levels. You hear that? It naturally reduces stress levels, reduce inflammation levels, while strengthening the immune system. Now, you can see how all of that would work together. Because if stress levels are reduced, then there are not present in the body the elements that causes inflammation. There are bodily reactions to certain situations that pump natural hormones, chemicals into the bloodstream that contribute to inflammation. And where there's inflammation in the body, as we've learned over the past presentations, the immune system is weakened. So if stress levels are reduced naturally, then inflammation is put at bay. At least that portion that contributes to inflammation is put to bay, leaving your immune system intact to do what it is supposed to do. Now, secondly, the natural physical benefit of mindfulness, it improves sleep. Regular mindfulness practice has been shown to alleviate insomnia and improve the quality of sleep helping to both refresh and energize. There are so many people now um, that are paying large sums of money for sleep treatments, having problems with insomnia. Their body's circadian rhythm, that rhythm that tells you to sleep and wake, is completely off. And when that is off, the whole body's system as a whole, which should operate in sync, is thrown off. But through mindfulness, when practicing mindfulness, you actually can alleviate insomnia without having to pay high fees for somebody to probably give you some pharmaceutical drugs to say help you with your sleeping, or take you in a direction that is not beneficial for your overall health. Insomnia and such things that deprives of sleep can be helped for free by engaging in mindfulness. And number 3, enhanced focus. Training our minds to stay present. Mindfulness helps improve our concentration and our cognitive skills. Our cognitive skills being those skills required to process thoughts, make good decisions, solve problems. These are all aided by enhanced focus, which is produced by the engagement of mindfulness. In a world today where our minds are so involved that keeps racing, never stops, this racing mind has an effect on our body. That racing mind does not allow us to focus on anything in particular. It goes back and forth from the past to the future, and always overlooking the present. But mindfulness trains us to focus our minds in such a way that the past is the past, the future has not arrived, and the present is what we have to look at. And this is the complete person. Well, at the top you have mind, then you have body, and then you have soul. But we know, according to scripture, it is spirit, body, that creates the soul. The soul is the union of the body and the spirit. Now, in the soul itself, a platform is created because the spirit and the body are now united, and the body is now given life, and it is alive. It creates a platform called the mind. So the mind is in the soul, and it's a combination of body and spirit. That's why when a person dies and the spirit leaves their body, their mind is gone because the soul is gone. The body and the spirit, if they're not united, then that's death, and there is no soul. When the body and the spirit are united, then the soul. And it says in Genesis chapter 2 that Yahweh breathed into man, into his body, and the breath of Yah, the spirit of Yah, with the fleshly body combined created a living being. So just thought I'd take a few minutes just to explain that, because we have mind here, but the mind is the product of the soul. Now, we continue with natural benefits, natural mental benefits of mindfulness. We looked at natural physical benefits. Now, look at the mental benefits of mindfulness. Reduced anxiety. Yes, anxiety, even though it's abstract, it's a feeling, it causes physical emotions. But if we could reduce this abstract feeling, then you're going to find that the racing mind that was spoken about earlier, it will calm the racing mind, relieve anxiety, and promote inner peace and well-being. And this is how it helps the mental state. Secondly, It increases self-awareness by observing our thoughts, the things that are going through our mind and our emotions with curiosity and acceptance. That is, being curious of the thoughts that we have in our head and the emotions that we are feeling associated with those thoughts. To look at those and to examine them for what they are without judgment on it or saying, oh, this is not good, this is bad, but looking at it for what it is and allowing it to move along, not allowing it to stay and linger. Now, mindfulness empowers us to understand ourselves. It's like getting to know yourself, the way you are thinking, because your thinking affects your action. Okay, it helps us to understand ourselves at a deeper level, so that we are not lost to who we are, but we understand who we are and understand our actions and reactions, and can, with that understanding, can direct our, our thoughts, our emotions, and the directions that are beneficial for us. Yes. Now, these guys are practicing more of a mystic style of meditation. They're only there as symbols of meditation, but this is not to encourage you to engage in this type of meditation. You don't have to sit with your legs crossed and your middle finger touching your thumb and so on and so forth, as is done in Eastern style meditation. But meditation itself is a very scriptural thing, and it is something that our ancestors in scripture have engaged in, separate and apart from this type of meditation that you see going on here. This is the yoga style meditation that is so common and so prevalent. But this is not what we are looking to. We are on this challenge because it is kingdom lifestyle modification. Everything and every method is aligned with the kingdom. That kingdom is the kingdom of heaven. Now, here are some additional natural benefits of mindfulness. Very important. Emotional regulation. Developing mindfulness skills allows you to better manage your emotions and respond with greater clarity. Our emotions, if left unchecked and uncontrolled, can cause complete havoc in our lives. When people act based on emotion, they normally have so much regrets at the words spoken, the actions taken. That's because our emotions are controlling us rather than we controlling our emotions. And any decision made while in an emotional state is normally so manipulated that it never brings the conclusion or clarity needed to any situation. It causes more confusion. So, additional natural benefits of mindfulness is emotional regulation, being in charge of your emotions, managing your emotions, not allowing them to control you. Now, don't get me wrong, emotions are natural, and every human being has been given that beautiful gift of emotion. But emotions should not control the individual. They are there to help the individual express what is in them. That is happiness, sadness, anger, love, all of these things. Well, can't say love is emotion, love is much more than emotion, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. The emotions, if left unchecked, will wreak havoc. So we need to manage it and keep it under control, allow it to do what it's supposed to do and not go beyond that. Additional natural benefits, increased happiness. And what I like about mindfulness is that it is not something that's pulled out of thin air. Research has gone into it. Scientists have found that mindfulness has so much contribution to benefit an individual physically and spiritually, which indeed would reflect mentally. So we have increased happiness, and research has also shown that regular mindfulness practice can cultivate a greater sense of overall well-being and happiness in one's life. Yes, they're controlling your emotions, of course. You're not getting yourself into trouble because of emotional response, emotional decisions, emotional actions. So there's no regret. That means you maintain your peace and your calm. Maintaining your peace and your calm creates a state of happiness. It also improves relationships because by learning to be present with ourselves, once we've learned to be present with ourselves, we enhance our ability to be fully present with others. And this fosters a deeper and more meaningful connection. And can you see this in loving your neighbor as you love yourself? You have learned to be present with yourself. You have learned who you are. So now you can appreciate who your neighbor is and share with him what you have discovered with yourself, for yourself, that is good and healthy, and then transfer it, do it for them. They don't have to ask. They don't have to do it for you to reciprocate because you have become present with yourself. You can then take that presence and all of the benefits that come along with it and help your neighbor because that is what you would like to have done to you. So you do it first, okay? It improves relationships. It creates and fosters deeper and more meaningful connections. Very important for relationships. The deeper and more meaningful, the more real, the more concrete, the more solid the relationship is. Now, engaging in the practice of mindfulness. This is how we get started. How this mindfulness works? Attention control. Now listen carefully. Attention control. Mindfulness trains you and I to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. All we're doing, we're not judging the thoughts, we're not judging the emotions. We're recognizing them for what they are. Anger is anger, regardless to what caused that anger. Anger is a state of being. Recognize it. Let it pass. Don't put a judgment, just let it go. You're going to find that the emotion attached to the anger, that feeling attached to the anger, also leaves so that you can then sit and think clearly about how the response should be or what the response should be. When we do this without judgment, it also allows, it enhances our ability to focus. How? Because if you have looked at the emotion and you've done so without judgment on that emotion, there is no tarrying, no lingering on that emotion to well up to develop into something else that would actually become a distraction and inhibit your ability to focus. So when you are being mindful or engaging in mindfulness, you are actually gaining control on your attention. And I want to say something here because in the 21st century, it is extremely difficult. But I shouldn't say that it's extremely difficult. We find that the majority of the world's population have difficulty in focusing. It is difficult to hold somebody's attention for 5 minutes or less. If you are explaining something long and in depth, by 6 or 7 minutes into the explanation, the person is already lost. Their mind is already someplace else. And this is prevalent in so many different things. It's prevalent in the educational system. The children cannot focus. They have a short attention span. But mindfulness helps us to develop a longer attention span so that we can actually take in much more. And as you can see, it comes through practice, not just once or twice, but continuously, the routine. That's why on the 21-day challenge, what we are doing is we are establishing routines that will become habits, good habits that strengthen us in every way. And mindfulness is a very important habit that we have to engage in and maintain. Now, here's a word, neuroplasticity, and its connection to mindfulness. What is neuroplasticity? Well, it comes when regular mindfulness practice rewires the brain. That's right. Your mindfulness in meditation and in action actually rewires your brain, strengthening neural pathways associated with well-being and happiness. And when that rewiring process takes place, and most of you who are familiar with electrical installations, well, your brain is a massive network of electrochemical installation that has its own route for transmission of electricity impulses. When the wiring is going in the wrong way, you could actually be losing electrical power and strength. But when it's rewired the right way, what happens is the brain then informs the body to release the hormones or the chemicals needed to actually put you on a path of restoration, both in an abstract way and a physical way, in a mental way and in your daily life. Strengthening neural pathways that are associated with well-being and happiness is causing your body to release those hormones that produces happiness and well-being. Mindfulness, when engaged, helps in the stress response. And earlier when I was talking about the physical impact of abstract stress, racing mind, and so on, the stress actually causes our body in the same way that we are rewiring our brain through mindfulness. What we are doing is actually getting the body to release certain chemical hormones that allows us to regulate our body's stress response. And when we talk about stress response, we're talking about two major hormones here, adrenaline and cortisol. These are the hormones released when the body is in a fight or flight mode. Either you fight whatever it is that appears in front of you that you have to act on. See, this is an action thing. The stress response is an action. You either stand and fight or you take flight and get away from it. And almost every living being has this response. It's more acute or it's more noticeable in the wild, but subtly it affects us. It is these responses that actually contribute to the hypertension and all the much of the negativity that we do experience on a daily basis. Now, imagine this: the fight or flight hormone is being released when there is no danger, when there's no real danger. But because of the undisciplined mind and the stress levels, the body feels as if it is in a state of stress or anxiety or danger, and it releases the adrenaline or cortisol into the bloodstream. And do your research on this. You find that these two hormones give you almost a supernatural ability to cope with the situation. However, where there is no true real situation to address, these stay in the bloodstream. It causes the heart to beat faster. It causes the heart to race. It actually puts it in a state of tension when there's no need for it. And when this tension is sustained, then you have the hypertension. That means tension that goes on. Mindfulness helps regulate the body's stress response so that you're not releasing the adrenal glands, is not releasing adrenaline and cortisol when it's not needed. It's not staying in your bloodstream to keep you at a hypertensive state, to cause your blood pressure to be reading off the charts, when it's your mind causing your body to produce those chemicals when it's not needed. And this is one of the major things that affect most adults, and now it's seeping down to younger generations because of so-called progress and technological development. But reducing the negative impact of the stress response on the physical body will also reflect on the mental health. Benefits of mindfulness meditation. 1, stress relief, less anxiety. By learning how to be more choiceful about when to think about what, we can rewire our brains to reduce stress and anxiety. Let's learn this, that when we are mindful, when we have engaged in exercising through the practice of mindfulness, meditation, and the other methods that will be brought up, we make better choices. We do not allow our minds to run places where they should not be going because they're so far off course. In the process, we are rewiring our brains to reduce stress and anxiety. By now, you should have realized that engaging in mindfulness, if you have been diagnosed as hypertensive, that you can actually get off of those pharmaceuticals that are damaging your kidneys and liver just simply by engaging in mindfulness. It is much cheaper than refilling the hypertensive medication or having to deal with its side effects. Then 2, everybody wants to be productive because we as creatures of a creative creator. He has given us the ability to create, and our ability to create is our productivity. And each one of us have been given something to be productive with. Well, you need focus to be productive. You cannot be productive if what you have in front of you that needs to be accomplished, you cannot even focus on because your mind is racing to and fro. So mindfulness helps us to recognize distracting thoughts. Very important. Recognize the distracting thoughts, thoughts that are not contributing to the productivity, or the impulses that are distracted, and we let them pass without indulging in them. Sometimes people will shake their heads to try and get it out, but even that is energy in that direction. Do not fight it, let it go. Do not hold on to it, do not allow it to develop, let it go. And then more patience. And I praise Yah for this because it's something that He has helped me with. Patience. And He's helped me through mindfulness. Focusing not on the past, not on the future, but on the present. And applying what knowledge He has given to the present, because this is what will create future. The past is a learning experience that has passed, and there's no need to linger on it. The more we linger on it, the more we hinder ourselves from moving forward, because we are thinking about the past while in the present and not being productive while in the present to create future. So mindfulness teaches us to practice patience, so it comes naturally to us when we need it. And as I said earlier, the direction that the entire world is heading right now, patience will be needed for survival. So mindfulness comes in as a tool to assist in helping us to move forward during difficult times. Again, we continue with engaging the practice of mindfulness. Now, mindfulness includes not only taking time to meditate, breathe, exercise, but also eating healthy. And that is what we have been doing from the time we got started. First of all, just so that you know that you engaged in mindfulness when you decided that you would be a part of this program. When you decided this is what I need to do, you engaged in mindfulness. That was the first step. Now we are developing mindfulness. And even when we were discussing nutrition, acid alkaline association, and gut health, we recognized and we heard the term mindfulness straight through, because we have to think about what we are putting in our bodies and the available nutrients that we're getting from what we put in our bodies. And then being mindful that it is not only putting in the food, but making sure that it is in a position to be absorbed, because the nutrients has to be absorbed for the body's benefit. So we have been engaging in mindfulness straight through. You've been encouraged to exercise. That's mindfulness. That is determining, I will rise at this time and I will engage in physical exercise for the benefit of this physical body that I have. And when you engage in exercise, physical exercise that is, you are actually strengthening your mind also. You find that exercise and mindfulness work as partners in creating an overall state of well-being. So we have meditate, breathe, and we're going to go into breathing in a short time. Breathing, the exercise, and eating healthy. And what is not here, but you'll see later on, is adequate rest, because that plays a part. That is one of the pillars of holistic health. Now, mindfulness is different from being mindful. Notice, mindfulness is describing a state of being, whereas mindful is describing a mind that is full and full of things that do not benefit. Having a mind that is full puts you in poor health. It's one of the foundations for depression, for unmitigated stress, which results in overeating and eating those comfort foods. That's when the mind is full. But when mindfulness is engaged, then that full mind is emptied. And once it's emptied, then the benefits of mindfulness takes place. That is a beautiful, peaceful scene for an early morning rise. And this is how we can apply mindfulness to our daily lives. We start with short mindfulness exercises in the morning. Gratitude, being thankful for the new day, being thankful for the breath, being thankful for the sight, being thankful for the hearing, being thankful for the ability to touch, to handle, and to feel, being thankful for being able to move, being thankful to be alive, thankful those around you, close to you, are still alive. Gratitude in every aspect. Gratitude that there is food to eat when you're hungry, shelter to protect you from the environment, clothing to cover the nakedness, and all of the additional benefits. And even without them, because you have life, you are still thankful. Gratitude prayers. You're giving the prayers and the thankfulness and the gratitude to the one who has allowed this for you, your creator. And as I introduced sometime before on the platform, for those who were not aware that the name of Elohim, or God, his name is Yahuwah. This is what he announced his name to be. So this is what he's referred to as, and not a substitute or something else. So it is to him who created everything that our gratitude and prayers are directed. And our meditation is also in him, because as he is spirit and extends all over, he is present with us when we focus on him. So in our meditation, his spirit saturates us, and it helps us in performing mindfulness in meditation. And you find that this is empowering to our being. The next thing you want to do is you want to incorporate mindfulness into daily tasks. Being intentional in everything you do. It's almost like what the wise man Solomon said. Whatever your hands find to do it with all your heart, do it with all your strength, with all your might. As a matter of fact, Moses also said the same thing. He said that we should love Yahweh our Elohim with all our heart, with all our being, with all our might. This is telling us that we should be mindful and intentional in directing focus to, to Yahweh and incorporating mindfulness in our daily routine, mindful eating, not just grabbing something to eat. Oh, I'm going to grab some breakfast. I'm going to grab some lunch. Don't grab anything because what you're grabbing, you're not even taking a look at what you're grabbing. You're just grabbing the first thing that comes to your mind or to your hand. But when you are mindful, you're saying that I want to plan this for my breakfast, for my lunch, and for my dinner. This is the benefit I know that I will get from this. And it will do my overall being a benefit rather than taking something that you did not even think much about or something that your unregulated mind is calling for because of maybe it could be those addictive chemicals that they're putting in the foods that has rewired your brain to addiction toward a particular food. Well, mindfulness can help you get rid of that. If we think about what we're going to eat and the benefits we get from what we're eating when we're eating it. And even when we're sitting to eat what we have mindfully thought of, to take the time to appreciate the food that you have, its color, its presentation, its taste, things to consider while eating, not flicking through your cell phone while you're eating, but actually sitting and enjoying the time that you have allotted to eat your food is the time allotted to focus on taking in the food, ensuring that you are chewing it properly. Remember what we learned in the acid alkaline association and the importance of gut health. We have to chew our food properly. So we are thinking about getting in those chews and making sure that our food is completely chewed so that those digestive enzymes could get into that food ball to help the digestion process from while it's in the mouth and traveling down the esophagus. That's mindful eating. And then mindful walking. Taking the time to go out into nature, away from noise and away from crowd, and enjoying becoming harmonious with the environment around you. You would find that the peace that you find in the environment saturates you so that you are at peace with everything that is around you. This too is another way of appreciating who your creator is. And then we want to practice mindful communication. To practice mindful communication, we need to have empathy. In other words, we need to feel with others who we are talking to, the people who we are talking to. We need to feel what they are feeling so that we can understand what they're feeling and respond with that understanding. And we can only do this when we engage in active listening, because the active listening allows us to understand what the other person is going through so that we then can communicate our understanding and our understanding of what they're going through and words that match that. And we do that because we are able to feel it. And we can only feel it after we've listened without interrupting, without thinking about what you're going to say. This is what we do in order to enhance communication. And you're going to find that by practicing mindful communication, it not only gives you empathy with others and builds relationships, but it helps you also in your productivity and increasing the amount of productivity that you are giving. Because even in the mindful communication, communication is very important. And If you can communicate correctly what is needed for the time and the situation, you're going to find that your productivity is enhanced because there is contribution to your productivity that goes beyond what you would initially by yourself put in. Yeah, others would come to help you. Taking a deep breath. You know, some say stop and smell the roses. Take a deep breath. Some techniques here. You might have remembered this from our last challenge. Well, the techniques haven't changed. What we are doing is reinforcing the techniques that we have learned. And the more we reinforce it, the more it will become habitual. And the more it becomes habitual, the more it becomes a way of life. And that is what we want. That is what we want. We want a lifestyle that produces good health in our bodies, in our spirit, in our soul. So deep belly breathing helps. And I want everybody right now, while you're listening to me, I want you to, as we go through this, do it just once, because at the end of our presentation, I want to take you into a very brief meditation that will be beneficial to you, and I will enjoy it too and get benefit at the same time. But it'll introduce you to a means and method of actually alleviating stress. Okay? So first, we have the deep belly breathing. And these are different types of breathing that you can do for mindfulness or while engaging in mindfulness. And this is breathe in slowly. And this is the breathe in slowly through your nose. Breathe in slowly through your nose, even though you have mouth there, it's nose. I want it to be nose, okay? In. And you're not lifting your shoulders because you're not breathing into your lungs, but you are expanding your diaphragm. So your stomach actually comes out, not your shoulders come up. And this is how a baby breathes. Babies know how to breathe correctly. As they grow, they learn how to breathe incorrectly. But you breathe in through your nose slowly, fill your diaphragm, and you release slow through your mouth. And you will find that if you are in a state of anxiety, find a quiet place. Do that about 10 times. The first time will be very difficult because you're trying to focus. That's why you keep on doing it. The more you do it, the more you focus. You breathe in through your nose, getting in as much oxygen as you can, letting your diaphragm expand, and you release it through your mouth slowly, releasing the carbon dioxide, releasing the tension, letting it all go as it goes out. What you're doing is alkalizing your body also, because the more oxygen you get in, you alkalize, the more carbon dioxide you breathe out, you actually breathe out acidic carbon dioxide. Okay, so you reduce the amount of acidity in your body. This is called actually respiration, pH through respiration, because you can have respiratory acidosis, just like you can have metabolic acidosis. And I think we went through that before when we were doing acid alkaline association, so I won't go into that again. Now, another technique is the 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose for a 4 count. You're breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. You're holding it for a count of 7. Then you're holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you exhale slowly for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're letting it out. Okay. And all of these, once you get the recording, you can practice. Okay. Now, box breathing. You inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4, and then hold for 4, and then go back into it. You're doing a box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's your box breathing. So you have 3 techniques so far. Okay. A little like honey. She's doing her breathing. More techniques. Mindful exercises. Walking meditation. You know when is the best time to do the walking meditation? In the afternoon, after you've eaten that mindful dinner. To take a stroll, a slow, leisurely stroll in nature, a slow, leisurely stroll along the beach, and doing it barefoot. Doing it barefoot is a process called grounding. Grounding. And grounding is sitting in nature with your shoes off your feet and your feet making direct contact with the natural earth. And when you do it while incorporating deep breathing, it enhances it. The reason why your feet touching the ground is so important is because our whole universe exudes with electromagnetic impulses or frequencies. The earth has its own electromagnetic frequency. Electricity and magnetism is all around us in the atmosphere. It's a source of constant energy. In our bodies, we are electromagnetic creatures. Therefore, electricity and magnetism will definitely affect our body's functions. The earth, as a matter of fact, all living things resonate or vibrate at a particular frequency. And when that frequency is disrupted, then the individual is actually unbalanced and becomes sick. A lot of diseases have their own frequency that can be identified, and this is proven. This is science. It's proven. And when your feet touch the ground, you connect to the Earth's electromagnetism, and it grounds you and stabilizes your body's electromagnetism, so that the electrical impulses that are moving through your body and the magnetic frequency moving through your body are balanced. It's called grounding because it's very much like grounding in a house. Unless your house is grounded, your electrical circuitry in your house has a grounding on the outside, and that grounding is connected to the earth, then you can experience some serious electrical fires going on. And when we in modern times use so much synthetic material, for instance, our shoes, our clothing, and so on and so forth, it interferes with our natural electromagnetism in our bodies, and we're out of whack. We are electrically frayed. But when we are able to get into nature, plant our feet, not on the concrete, not on the tiles, but on the ground, on the earth from which we came, then you're stabilized. Very important. And like I said, mindfulness is free versus those expensive therapies and drugs that you will get that will throw you further out of whack. Having this knowledge is invaluable. Knowledge, when it's correct and factual and employed, changes the entire scenery. Very important. And as you can see, you have your book and your pen. So you know where we're going with this, right? Developing a mindfulness plan. And this is the plan that we had from the get-go, the beginning of our challenge. And as you can see, the challenge was designed in mindfulness and with mindfulness in mind. The first thing we do is we set realistic goals. These are our health conditions that we want to see reversed. These are our goals to actually getting there, to having them fully reversed and our health restored. Those are the goals that we set at the beginning. We define what we want to achieve with our mindfulness practice because the whole lifestyle challenge is a mindfulness exercise. And we break it down to manageable steps. And that's why it was very important to begin by writing everything down. That's why from day one, said write it down, make the records. But making the records initially creates consistency. It helps us to identify a regular schedule and dedicate time to practice mindfulness every day. Now, the consistency creates habit, creates a routine that creates a habit. Wouldn't it be so nice just to every day you know what time it is when you finish doing this or what you have to do, when you have to do it, how to engage in it. When it comes second nature, it's so easy. It's no longer a struggle. You no longer need an alarm clock. You no longer need a reminder because it's incorporated in you. This is what you do. This is your lifestyle. This is who you are. Okay. Then tracking progress is very important. And that's why we need a journal, to keep a journal to monitor your progress, noting any challenges that you have had during the challenge on the mindfulness track, and also documenting the insights that you gain along the way. That's why I encourage persons to share their experience, because your experience encourages another and it gives insight on how to overcome a situation that somebody else might be going through. Or maybe this is a sticking point, and the way you got over your sticking point might be the way of assisting somebody else in getting over the same thing. So tracking the progress helps us. Not only that, it's a way of rewarding us, because when we see what has been accomplished just by our discipline and dedication, it is encouragement to continue, reinforcing the lifestyle change, creating the lasting habit. This is what we want. We want to have a mindful life. In a mindful life, we are enjoying life. We are enjoying life's simple pleasures. And remember, we started with mindfulness from the time we decided to be on this challenge. Continuing in mindfulness and creating the habits is what will keep us going even beyond our goals. The struggle that we feel today will be the strength tomorrow. Remember, we started with that little quote that I found: until the pain of our suffering outweighs the misery of suffering in the pain, we will not have the courage to endure the pain involved with changing the cause of suffering. Going through the challenge itself is actually engaging in a painful method of overcoming. But once we have engaged, the pain decreases and our arrival at our destination is right in front of us. Now, I said that we'd have a little something, a little exercise here. So I want to go to the exercise. And what I'm going to do, I want to create a scene, a visual that I want you to share. I'm going to share with you. First, I'm going to stop the share so I can come back in with something else. Okay. And we go back to the share. We're going to go to the mindful music. Here's reduce the sound a bit. In front of you is a beautiful beach scene. And it could be a beach scene, I must say, and without bragging, it could be a beach scene from almost any of the less populated islands in the Bahamas. The beautiful clear waters, turquoise waters, the gentle sunshine and breeze, the beautiful clean white sands, and in some places pink powdery sands, miles and miles of it. I want you right now to, in your mind, place yourself on the beach that you see in front of you. And you're sitting there. I hope everybody's there right now. You are right now sitting on that beach. You can feel the sand underneath your feet touching the ground. You can hear the water rolling in onto the sand. While you are listening to the water roll up on the sand, because as it comes up on the sand, it's foaming and it's making a sound as if it is cold, like a cola effervescing. As it comes up onto the sand, the foam is effervescing, and then it's calmly going back out. I want you to close your eyes, holding that same picture, because that's where you are. And you can hear the sound of the waves. They're not crashing, but they are smoothly coming into the shore, creating that effervescing sound, that fizz, dying and rolling back out. At the same time, the sun is very warm on your face. You can feel the gentle warmth of the sun as if it's bathing you. And with the gentle warmth of the sun, there is a smooth, subtle breeze that's blowing off with the water. And it's bringing clean, untainted, fresh air. And you can smell the cleanness of the air as you engage in the deep breathing. Breathing in deeply, that nice, fresh, clean, clear air, filling up your diaphragm, with the oxygen, and then taking your time and slowly releasing through your mouth the carbon dioxide. And you're doing this again while the waves are coming up on the shore. As the sun is bathing you in warmth and the breeze is caressing your face and your skin. All the while, you don't see it, but you are feeling the benefits of the harmony of the electromagnetism flowing from the ground into your feet and stabilizing the electromagnetic current in your body. All of this is happening while you're continuing to breathe. And you are focusing on everything that you're experiencing. The warmth of the sun, the gentle caress of the breeze, the sound of nature in the water coming up on the sand, and the feel of your feet and the nice wet sounds. And you're continuing to focus on your in breath and your out breath. Nothing matters to you at all except that which is in front of you, that which you're feeling from the sun and from the breeze, which you're hearing from the water, the clean air that you're taking in. This is where your focus is, on nothing else. And while you're doing this is all that you're thinking about. This is your present experience. You are in the present. Nothing in the past is coming into your mind. There are no thoughts of the future. What you are engaged in now is the warmth of the sun, the cool of the breeze, the sound of the water, the feel of the feet on the ground, while focusing on taking in the oxygen and slowly breathing out the carbon dioxide. Okay, just slowly open your eyes now. And just look at the screen in front of you. Recognize that in your mind is where you were. Well, I do hope that that little experience did something for you. That is the presentation on mindfulness. I do hope that you enjoyed the presentation for the experience of mindfulness at the end.